7:04. Like to call the December, I want to say 4th, Nottingham Budget Committee to order. We can all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Roll call. We'll start with you, Carol.
Carol Martin.
Charlotte Fife.
Jill Eldridge.
Lincoln Lavoy.
Karen Quinn.
Donna Danis.
Owen Fred Gray.
Susan Levinson.
Jim Stevens. Jeffrey Morrison. Robert Kelly.
Public comment. Seeing no one from the public, unless you would like to make a public comment. Unless you're a resident, you could. In that case, we'll jump right into review of draft version 9, which sounds like we've done a lot of work on our end to get through these last 8 versions. We really appreciate that, sticking with us here. But yes, draft version 9 of the school budget. So, Andy, if you want to run us through, maybe, I know we've done one sort of high-level review about a month ago, but maybe run through sort of the big changes and your major highlights, and then we'll probably open up to questions. But however you want to start and set the floor, it's good for you.
The last time I was here, we were working with a draft budget that was about 3.99%. Tonight, in front of you, you have version 9, and on page 17 is where I'm going to start, because I'll start with the final piece that we have right now. On page 17, you'll notice that the default budget is at 0.55%. This is on line 379. And the proposed budget is at 1.32%.
I'm sorry, where are you?
Second to last page.
Last page, line 379.
Everything's cut off on.
Yeah, we don't have the numbers.
Oh, so you just 790?
Yep, 79.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 17,191,866 for 25.5, which means if the default was passed by the voters, it would be a $93,990,000 increase. If the proposed budget is passed, which would be at $17,326,067.89, that would be a 1.32% increase, or $228,192.16
Over last year.
over last year. Let me tell you a little bit about the difference between the last time I was here and this time. Working with the school board in the business service, we have made some decisions. We moved textbooks for $133,000, which is the purchase of a new language arts program, out of the budget because we have a trust fund for textbooks. So we will start by using the trust fund textbooks and try to avoid what I'll call the tax spike of 132 this year and 0 next year. So that has come out of the budget. We, in here, we are in need of a new intercom, but the State Department of Ed just released the new school safety grants. So by not having it in the budget, I'm able to apply for a school safety grant for the intercom, which is approximately $28,000. That was filed with the DOE. We'll know probably about 5 or 6 weeks. The item also qualifies because it's a capital improvement, so we could utilize the capital trust fund if the intercom goes. So there's a fallback position. I feel very comfortable on that, but it'll be interesting to see if that is funded, because one of the focus areas of the grant is communication. So I think it has a very good possibility. Also, in the last budget, there was approximately a $28,000 water heater. I'm not sure that wasn't done, why that wasn't done over the summer. It's part of the heating system that we had upgraded for. So ENE, the company we use, will be coming in to do that over the Christmas holiday, and that will come out of the money you already approved last year. So that water heater will be taken care of. As you know, we were proposing a new teacher for 5th grade. We are budgeting $25,000 of REAP money. That's the Rural Education Grant, which is already in hand, so we're not worrying about whether it's going to arrive or not. It's there. So that will offset the cost of that teacher. So it's kind of like phasing the teacher in over 2 years.
Wait, how much was that?
$25,000.
And how do you phase it in over 2 years?
Because we'll use the REAP grant, which is federal money this year, and then next year we'll put the remaining piece in the operating budget.
Okay.
Okay? And there's potential if you wanted to leave it in the REAP grant, that is a very solid grant. I don't see that not getting funded. The purpose of REAP grant is to reduce class sizes, and that's exactly what we're doing by putting that teacher in 5th grade.
So what grant, what are you calling it?
REAP, R-E-A-P, Rural Education, something, something.
Assistance program, how about that?
Thank you. Something like that,
I'm
yeah.
making it up.
Makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
So the rest of that cost is in just the regular salary?
Correct, yeah.
And how much is that?
We budgeted a master's step 5, which off the top of my head, I don't recall what the salary was.
We don't know the salary.
So that's 50% of
Basically 50%.
5th grade teacher, okay.
Next, we went through and reduced the SAU line items to reflect the part-time superintendent, hadn't been done. Then we started, and we're still in the process of where we have confidence in the FY '25 budget, looking at the actuals versus the proposed, and seeing if the actuals are still below what I'll call, what was budgeted in FY '26, then we'll level fund that item. Some areas that's easier than others, because there were some issues with accounting of certain expenses to the correct lines. Okay? So that is the brunt of what it brought the 3.99% increase down to 1.32. Now I'll kind of work my way through the budget a little bit, and then I'll open it up for any questions you may have.
Are we gonna go, like section by section versus you going all the way through the budget and then us going back?
If you would like to stop after each section, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think that'd be, I think that would be good for me. I don't know how everybody else feels about that.
Okay. So the first section is regular ed. We have the 2% increase in there in the default to account for the evergreen clause that is in the teacher's contract. The last time I was here, which would be line 9, I was asked about the dental insurance increase. It really wasn't necessarily an increase per se, it's just more of a getting it correct in the accounting line. So there were people that were not accounted for in that line that were receiving insurance, so that has been corrected as far as that goes. The another line that we are still kind of studying, trying to figure out, is line 17, which is the employee retirement. Because if you go back to FY '25, the actuals were 119,000. Then in '26, they were 1,500 was the budget. And then, so we're just trying to figure out, making sure we're not missing something. We don't know if that was teacher retirements. It's still a work in progress on that line. So that's why there still could be some adjustments made as we move forward.
So that's not state retirement, because that would be, like, state retirement contributions are line 19.
Yes, I believe line 17, the closest we can figure out at this time is teacher retirements, the buyouts that they have in their contract. But again, 26 and 25 had about the same number of retirees. So I'm just trying to.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. So I wanted to make you aware of that and that it being looked at.
Do you think directionally, you're generally more the number from FY '25 actuals or what's proposed?
I think it's what's proposed, because when we do the retirement calculation for somebody based on what the contract says, we come out with numbers in that area. There were some retirement issues, I think it was about a year and a half ago, and I think it's kind of more just filtering itself out. So more details to follow when we know the details. In teacher longevity, that number's going up because we have more teachers qualifying for the longevity piece in their contract. We did receive our Co-Brown tuition increase. It came in at 4.97. When we went through and looked at our estimates for next year, number of students going there, number of students graduating, it turns out to be what I'll call an actual increase of about 4% because of the numbers changing.
Is that why the Dover tuition is down? Is that just
Well-
a change in students, or is that a change in contract value?
That's a change in enrollment, because Dover's tuition actually was an 11%
I was
increase.
thinking that was a big jump, that's why I was wondering, yeah,
Right.
that makes sense.
And, but when you take the graduating versus the incoming and what was budgeted, we're comfortable with the new Dover, number in there.
So more students are choosing to go to Co-Brown than Dover?
I would say it's about the same split as been, it has been, our classes are a little bigger.
You mean the graduating classes are shrinking a little bit or something?
The graduating classes, well, this year, the graduating class that will graduate is larger than what we're estimating to go in.
So we had about a 2 or 3 year run where we had smaller 8th grade classes going in, so. And then last year, if you look back at what we had last year, I think we had 104 students accounted for at Dover in the estimate for the
Right.
budget. So there's a difference.
Right.
It's just the multiplier of how many were estimated.
So I'm sorry, but the Co-Brown contract is a 4.97% increase. Is that what you said?
4.97.
Yeah, okay,
So we had originally put an estimate in of 5, and it came in just under that.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
But less kids brings it down to a 4%.
correct.
okay.
Okay. So that takes us to the next page, and kind of takes us to the end at line 48 of regular education.
So backing up a little bit, salary on the paraprofessionals, so line 3. Actuals are, whatever that is, 137,000 under budget, and then default's kind of somewhere in the middle. Is that from a lack of employment in those positions? Is that why the
No, that's-
actuals are so far below budget, or?
No, the salary paraprofessionals there, what I'll call regular ed, and they're assigned to the preschool.
Mhm.
The number you have there for FY '26 included non-preschool paras.
Oh,
So from an
okay.
accounting standpoint, the other paras are back into special ed where they belong. And that's what I mean by why there's 9 versions. There's been a lot of putting accounts into the right place.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yeah, it seemed like that
And you're
kind
gonna
of
see
stuff
that, I
was,
mean, there's a line in here where we budgeted 107,000 for textbooks, and the actuals were $258. We still bought the textbooks. So that's what I mean by trying to go through and figure out exactly where we are from a line item. And I think typically at this point, I would be looking at actuals, comparing them to proposed, and then probably what I'll call, say, scrubbing and getting them down as close as possible to what they actually were. There's some lines I'm not comfortable doing that at all. I think we'll be more comfortable next year, be able to take advantage of it then.
so it looks like all of the paraprofessional lines went down, except for FICA for paraprofessionals and subs, that went up. So what's going on there?
The FICA line is just is a calculation.
Okay, but if paraprofessionals in this section went down, why wouldn't that also go down?
Because what line are you on?
It's line
15.
15.
Because the belief from my standpoint and Paul's is that 2,109 was not a correct line item.
But that doesn't make sense. If everything else related to paraprofessionals in this section went down, why wouldn't that go down?
Because FICA went up because you had $2,109 budgeted for FICA in '25.
I think Andy's saying you
It
can't
wasn't
really use
enough.
that original number, because the original number is just wrong.
Yes, that's why you're not seeing the reduction.
What I'm saying is that when things were charged, so when it came into payroll or accounts receivable, accounts payable, getting it charged to the right line didn't necessarily always align.
That makes it confusing.
Yeah.
Version 9,
Yeah,
there's probably a couple more to go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for correcting these things.
So that takes me to the end of regular ed.
Anybody?
So when you're forensically going through this now, how do you even gauge what was spent on a particular item and what should be in that line item?
You can go back to the purchase orders.
Yep.
But that's very time consuming, so we haven't had enough time to go to that level yet.
Okay.
But that's where you would go. And then you could determine where that purchase order probably should have been charged to.
So I do have some more questions in this section, sorry. So tuition anticipated move-ins.
Mhm.
Can you explain what that is?
We are seeing growth, and that basically is to cover just simply if two children move in over the summer that are unanticipated, and choose Dover or Co-Brown. Because we do have a trust at the town, but that's only at $40,000, and that was just recently started. And I think that's probably one of the biggest areas I've seen in fluctuation with students, A, switching from Dover to Co-Brown after a month of school because whatever reason. So there's a tuition difference there. Or B, somebody moves in and we have a new student starting at one of those schools with a cost we really didn't budget for.
How'd you come up with the 40,000?
Two students, it's about $20,000 at each school.
Okay. And again, I know I'm nitpicking, but supplies, physical education, 32% increase, what's driving that?
What line number, please?
30.
30. Well, again, when I look at it, it was $1,179, and now it's going to $2,305, which was the exact number that it was for 26. I can't necessarily tell you that the $1,179 for the actuals is 100%. I'm very concerned about underfunding to actuals if FY26 was funded at a different level.
Okay.
It just makes me a little concerned. I'm running FY26, and I'll be honest, it looks like this early in the game, we're running at a surplus. But at the same time, I don't know enough about the numbers to make what I'd say a really concrete prediction.
So is that the same issue with like math supplies, which is 3,789% increase, and music and choral?
Well, again, math supplies,
It's not a big number, but it's.
No, but it's exactly the point I'm trying to point out. So we had $793.04 and we spent $17.46. I can't imagine we only spent $17.46 for math supplies.
Right.
But I haven't had enough time since August, nor do I know if there is enough time to get through all the purchase orders for worrying about the actuals when I'm trying to do the proposed.
So I guess for supplies, the proposed numbers, like were the teachers asked, or is it the administration coming up with it?
What happens with the supplies, the principal sends out, and the teachers provide him with a list. And he then takes the time, comes to the board meeting, presents his budget. His budget includes all the teacher materials, the maintenance, the IT, those components, and his budget has been funded. So this budget that you're looking at will advance the school district forward. You know, we pick up the main priorities of the school board, we get that teacher to reduce class sizes, we get the new program, textbook program, just using the trust fund. So we hit all the major goals that the board had talked about in August, and we move things forward, maintaining our staffing levels and keeping our small class sizes.
So classroom workbooks is up again 40%.
Yes, when they purchased the program, my understanding is they didn't buy the workbooks,
Which program is that?
we're doing language arts, they just did math.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
And what we're doing right now is we're probably spending as much on copies as if we purchased the workbooks.
Okay. And then the textbooks, that's what you explained earlier about bringing that out of a fund.
Yeah, what I would suggest is, we have more than enough funds in there right now to pay for year one. If we were to run a surplus, one of the articles I would propose would be to allocate some of the surplus to the textbooks again. So now you've already funded year two. And there's two reasons for that. Yes, we could get a discount if we purchase a 6-year program up front. But the problem is if you're 2 years into that program and the teachers or whoever do not like it at that point, you're locked in for 4 more years.
Right.
And that's an awful awful long time to be locked into a program for that many students. So I'd rather have the flexibility. Yes, it'll cost a little more, but at the same time, we're still in the pilot phase. And I don't know 100% that the teachers will even say they want to go to a new program. So I think to put that in the budget, and if they came back to me in the spring and said, no, we really like the program we've had. So this gives me that flexibility by using the trust fund.
And that's for ELA is the one you're piloting, or?
We purchased math with piloted ELA, yeah.
So last year was math. It was the continuation of Math in Focus, which has delivered good results, and then
Because we
Math
talked about a
Expressions.
new math program last year,
It was
didn't we?
the Math Expressions was new for K through 3, and then last year they pushed it up, I believe, to 4, to include grade 4. So we went from everyday math, which was not a mastery-based program,
Yep.
into Math in Focus, which delivered a lot of good results on the SAS testing. And then last year, it was the 6-year cycle, so they added another grade to Math Expressions, which is a
Okay.
change they had made a couple of years ago. So K3 is Math Expressions, and then Math in Focus is going up for the rest of the grades, and they pushed Math Expressions to 1 more year.
Mr. Corey, you've made great use of the funds at your disposal to reduce the impact on the budget, which I think is great. At our last meeting, which obviously you weren't at, Donna made a really helpful presentation about different town trust funds and their funding levels and their projected health into the future. So I'm wondering I don't know these fund balances, so I'm wondering how you are thinking about balancing expenditures from these trust funds that reduce the impact on the budget while also maintaining the long-term health of those trust funds so that they're there if we continue to need them.
So balances are on.
Are they?
Yep, page 17.
Where?
Page 17.
Same page that has the bottom line.
So to her point, though, what we did with the other ones was it was not just looking at the balances, but it was looking at planned or requested expenses against those balances. And then what contributions were needed to align with all of the
Right.
expenses. So that's what you're
I
asking
think
for?
he understands my,
Yeah, let me give you an example. The grant funds for maintenance, which is at, I think, which is the 120, which is reserved for outdoor
That's ground.
maintenance. That actually is being saved because in the next couple of years, I believe the CIP has the parking lot being redone. So I wouldn't touch a fund like that where it has a purpose and we know where we're heading with that fund. When I look at the textbooks, I can't imagine that it doesn't align. I can't imagine that we want to have a trust fund with a bunch of money for textbooks and then not utilize it when textbooks come up. The special ed piece, to be honest, I would try to avoid touching that as much as possible because one child can
Yeah.
totally change a budget drastically. And I think you want to have that for a rainy day. And I would encourage you to continue to build on that because I'm aware of single child placements based on services being over $400,000 now. You know, yes, you will have an offset from catastrophic aid and all that, but at the same time, that's a year in arrears. You know, and I think you want to try to avoid taking from regular ed to fund special ed. I think you're looking to balance all your programs across the board. So I wouldn't touch the special ed trust fund. The capital reserves trust fund, I would segment into more intersections. So if Nottingham decided they needed to do something to address space needs in terms of a building or an expansion, that to me, I would recommend that you look at some sort of bond. I think the interest rates are still very good and you pay for that over time. But in terms of expenses like the water heater that's kind of come up, you know, that to me is a perfect example of a capital piece for the building that we should maintain. Or if we encountered a section of the roof that we hadn't planned on and didn't have another mechanism. And my philosophy has always been can I find it in the operating budget? If I can't find it in the operating budget, then we have a discussion about moving to a trust fund.
Can you, just clarify, is the 107,000 that you're considering taking from the trust fund for the textbooks, is there a chance that that program would not get adopted after that money's spent on those textbooks? Is that what you said?
No, this spring I'll know which program is being recommended.
Oh, I see.
And if it's not a new program, obviously we don't need any money, we'll just fund the old one. And I wouldn't spend the 107, I would encourage you to purchase it over time,
Understood, okay, thank you.
because
There's
again,
only 47 in the reserve.
right. But if there was 47 now and we ran a surplus this year, and I know the cost for year 2, I can continue to do that, so you might end up having to budget 1 year in your budget, the rest would become from money that's already been taxed.
Okay, so we're still in special ed, right?
We're just about to, we're just finishing,
Sorry,
just trying to finish
Jumping
regular.
ahead, sorry.
So we go into special ed next.
Okay,
Sounds good, let's go to that.
Okay, so under special ed, Catherine Duncan is our Director of Student Services at the SAU. She presented her budget to the school board. She has done a tremendous job. I think we have all our known costs funded. I do know that we have a couple IEP meetings still taking place. I don't think there'll be a significant, when I say significant, I'm probably looking at $10,000 to $20,000. I don't think there'll be any new significant costs coming out of those, but I could be wrong, unless, next week a family moves in. So I think these numbers are very solid for what we're providing. And I don't have at the top of page 9, the special ed contracted services at the high school. This is another line that we've investigated because the actuals were 41. We're budgeting 109. Now, I know there is an increase from Catherine, but not 100% sure of that. And the same, the deduction on line 76, which is the special ed tuition for Dover High School. That is the new contract, has a new clause regarding special ed. So those costs are actually down at Dover High School.
it went down?
It went down.
We restructured the way, I was in the negotiations, the way that they charge extra for some special ed services, and it wasn't really reflective of what the actual
Okay.
costs are. So that was part of what we negotiated.
Okay,
Of course,
That-
they
that
increased the
helps.
tuition, but.
yeah, right.
Line 83, which is special ed testing supplies, that is a significant increase. If you're aware, special ed students are reevaluated every 3 years, and we just have a large pool of students who are up in the cycle for reevaluation. So it's in line with the expenses, it's just all in 1 year, so that's why you see that significant increase. If I can backtrack for 1 second, line 79, this is out-of-district high school, so these are students who don't attend Dover or Co-Brown, but attend a school that meets their unique needs and services. That line is actually going down by 12%, so that is a credit to the efforts that Dover and Co-Brown are making to work with students, as well as just attrition. That takes me to the end of special ed.
Wait, I'm sorry. Not trying to be a jerk, just trying to understand.
Oh, you're not being a jerk at all.
Everything that is-
I actually like numbers, so it's okay.
Go back to line 77.
77,
What's going on there?
special ed Co-Brown.
Yeah.
That is just a number of students who receive services for Co-Brown. They had a slight increase in their special ed tuition. They were, I think it was 5.97. So they were 4.97 for regular ed and 5.97 for special ed. So that's just our number of students and the new cost.
So it went from 9,184 to request of 122,000 and change?
The 9,184, again, is what was charged to the line.
Yeah.
okay? If you notice, we budgeted.
Correct.
Yeah, but I gotta ask. I'm so
I know you have to
I
ask.
gotta ask.
Yeah,
I mean, cause
You're okay.
How do we get our hands,
He's just
how
coming into
are you
this.
getting your arms
Because
around the accounting?
bad accounting isn't
How are you
the
getting
right
your arms
answer for
around the
everything.
accounting moving forward?
Well, we brought in TMS, which is the service that I had recommended to bring in. And then after the new year, we'll be interviewing, we have 2 candidates that I think are worthy of the board interviewing for BA. And then my background, I actually went to college for accounting and then transitioned over to become an educator. So I think it's just gonna take time, you know, but at the same time, I think I'm comfortable with the bottom line of the 1.32. I'm not comfortable with some of the
Where they're
pieces
at.
within it. And I think, what Donna just highlighted is a classic example of where my discomfort is. There's no way we only spent 9,148 at Cole Brown for special ed.
Right.
There's just no way. But that's what was charged to the line. We had a number of transitions in the business person moving on, other people coming in. And I think, you know, what we did, since Paul and I have arrived, the special ed bills go through Catherine Duncan now. So she works with the PO. They come into her now, they get reviewed by her, then they come to Paul and I. Because we don't necessarily know the day in and day outs like the director of special ed. So we're putting some procedures in place and we're trying to build procedures that extend beyond us being here.
Yeah. So,
Co-Brown charge us for each para, so like if a high school student needs a para Co-Brown, we have to
Yes.
pay that.
Right,
So
we pay our fair
That's-
share.
like 106 is reflective of, what, 2 paras maybe? I mean, that's not a large number.
so two questions related to this. How much time and energy are you gonna put into forensics of going back and figuring out which of these are real and which aren't real?
Well, we're gonna have an audit this month.
Okay,
Okay, so that will help us. We have a new auditing firm. And then Paul and I will be able to take the data from the auditors to kind of figure out where to focus the most attention on.
okay,
Because trying to, like, we weren't able to close 25 until probably October, November, when it's usually a June close.
yeah,
Okay? And really, until we got through that closing, I really wasn't sure if we were finishing with a surplus or a negative balance.
okay,
And it turned out we had $370,000 in surplus, 200,000 that we put to the unreserved fund balance, 100,000, a little over, to return to the taxpayers, and then funded the trust accounts.
yeah.
But didn't know that until we had it. So it was very much a unique situation in July and August, stepping in and moving
Yeah.
forward.
My second,
We always had a surplus last couple of years.
yeah,
Right,
but last year
It's
was,
just budgeted in there.
Yeah.
You know, like 500,000.
Last year was really
Well, but the thing
extraordinary.
is, I could understand the 200,000, which is the unreserved fund balance. But in my mind, I don't think of that. So really, we had a surplus of 170,000, which is still a decent surplus, but not being able to tell you that I
With
had
a $17 million budget, that's, you know what I
about
mean?
1%. So that means you did a great job of budgeting, because you were 99% online on time.
True.
Yeah.
You get an A+, there you go.
Okay. that's it.
No, it wasn't me.
Question.
It wasn't me.
But, so my second question might be more for Sue. So we can sit here and understand all this. How are you going to present this to the public?
So I think the biggest thing that we need, that would be helpful, is to get our notes in here. And
Yeah.
So that's something that's being worked on. I believe the next presentation that we have, it doesn't necessarily matter if it comes out of Tyler or this, but to have notes would be,
I think that's really important.
right.
Well, if I can jump into, we are moving to Tyler, which is the format you had.
Yeah,
And you'll have both the default budget and the proposed budget in Tyler with the notes, just like you had. But you couldn't do it to get to where we had to get to. Like, using Tyler is not gonna it's not gonna make it easy for me to work, especially when you realize that TMS is remote most of the time. So using an Excel spreadsheet, we can be live in 2 different locations working on the budget, whereas I don't wanna open Tyler up to an off-site.
it doesn't support that?
Pardon me?
It doesn't support that?
It does, but I don't, it also has a wealth of data in it, that if we were breached, if you
Okay.
breach my Excel spreadsheet, okay? If you breach Tyler, it concerns me.
So anyway.
Breaching HR at that point.
Anyway, my point is that, like, if we're sitting here going, what's going on, you're gonna have to make sure that there's notes and that you explain it to people who are looking at the budget and trying to decide if to vote in favor or
I think
against the
that the
budget.
board is also eager to see some notes. There may be adjustments made at the board level the next time we all work together on some of these things, when we dig in a little bit more. And you'll be having more of the supporting documentation.
Yeah, okay.
So, I think that's
I
the
will
way-
tell you, it's, just full disclosure, it's very, very difficult. And I know the board, the school board has been frustrated, but it is what it is. And we're limited on the number of hours that we work between TMS and myself being part-time, which I think is absolutely appropriate. But we're just coming into a situation that needs to be addressed and set up to move forward.
I agree with that.
Yeah, there's just
I
a
mean,
little bit
that's-
of, he definitely stepped into something that
Right,
was
right, you can't
difficult.
control what happened
Because
years
we
ago,
have
that's-
definitely also, this has been a couple of years running, because if you recall, we thought we had an unassigned fund balance in the prior year of about 380 in that, that's what we were seeing in reporting. That turned out to be 900, which is a big swing. And even though it was a positive swing, when you're doing that, it can go either way. And so we also were on pins and needles, because the last report we had was $15,000 balance.
Right.
So, which you had heard about. So it turned out to be, when they called the consultant in, and he kind of went through it all, swung to 300, but we don't want any more swings, and so the
Yeah,
work that's
right.
being done will resolve that.
But to your point, Bob, I think we're looking at potentially another surplus. Just trying to put that on the table now, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
got
not
the
sure
last
that-
prior year's surplus, exact numbers here. I mean,
Yeah,
that shocked me last year, 909,000.
yeah, I'm just saying.
Usually it's around 500, 430.
Yeah.
You know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
I'm usually, I'm like 3 or 4% is kind of the window I'd like to be in, you know? But I'm just making you aware, because as we start to, you know, encumber all our salaries, all our FICA and all that, we're running in a positive place on that. That's an area that's pretty much kind of defined usually. Salaries and benefits, you kind of get closer than we are. So I just want, you know, that's the other piece that's potentially gonna happen. And I put that in your mind because you had things to do. Sometimes it's your choice, but sometimes I've been in districts where they wanted to reduce that surplus by doing no maintenance items that were going to be coming up to be paid for anyway.
Sure, we got hit with that healthcare one year, was it 170,000 or something?
The-
Remember that teachers' healthcare went up, we weren't
Yes,
sure.
we
'cause
had that one
didn't-
year that really swung, yeah. This year, we dodged a bullet because we stayed steady with our carrier, and so others have experienced some significant swings.
Yeah, I think you took on the high side
Yeah.
after that happened, like, hey, we're just gonna precaution on the high side of the healthcare.
They've changed, Health Trust has changed as well, so we have exact numbers now, where we used to have to go with that guaranteed max, so.
But at
That's true, yep, that's
but
right.
at the same time, I'm putting before you 1.32. You did have a 10% increase in healthcare. You did have an 11% increase in adult tuition. So some of your biggest items have gone up double digits. And we're at 1.32, and I'm just saying that because that just tells me there's more forensic pieces to be done.
Sure, I agree with you. Just quick question, please, you know how many special ed teachers are there in pairs, line 49 and 50?
I have 25 and a half aides, I believe.
25 and a half? Okay,
Yep.
and that's like part-time, the half?
Yeah,
Okay.
Super hard, yeah.
That's teachers and paras?
Because there's two separate lines.
This is just the
Would be-
special ed ones?
That was, yes, the elementary K, grades 1 to 8, 33 and a half.
30, okay, 33. And then pairs are 25.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, thanks.
Anything else on special ed? Co-curricular?
really not a lot of changes there. On the officials, umpires and referees, line 96, we have an increase in there just because of the increase for fees for that. It's not a lot of money. Other than that section is pretty much stable. The same with the summer school lines. So the last two pieces on that page are pretty much stable and no changes.
Wait, just one
Sure.
question, this is just education for me. 80, 99 and 100, what's the difference between replace equipment and replace other?
The equipment is something, I'll say specific to a sport.
Yep.
You know, whereas replace other is something more of, what I'm gonna call a facilities, like, if I was gonna replace other, that could be a backboard. Okay, because that's phys ed, that's, basketball, those type of things. So one is gonna be specific to,
A sport.
A specific,
A sport versus general for,
General, makes sense.
For the gym.
and I'll make a note and get you more details. I know it's not a lot of money, but if you have that question, so do I.
yeah, no, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
make
no,
sure I
no, agree.
understand it
Yeah,
all.
no,
Summer Institute, for the salaries, that's gone away. So what, are you not doing Summer Institute anymore?
that's correct. That was a recommendation. The numbers have dwindled, and the principal and staff don't feel that's appropriate, but we do believe summer academies are still doing very well.
What's the difference?
I'm not exactly sure, having not gone through a summer here.
So Summer Institute was like a, 1 or 2 week long program.
Yeah, I remember,
It's very part-time, the schedule is
Rose
like
used
only a
to run
couple
it.
of days. And so she has run it even post-retirement, she came back to do it.
So what's the, I'm sorry, what's the,
Summer Academies is probably the math and
I
reading.
think it got renamed, let me just double check. Isn't that maybe just the kindergarten, and all the summer work that's done?
I do remember seeing flyers about Summer Academy.
I think it had a lot to do with the transition to coming to school, the younger ones.
I think that's just all the general work that gets done all through the summer. Where you have your kindergarten academies
So
and all
not
your
the
special
special ed.
work
Yeah.
with students. We have like a summer school almost that runs in July.
For the
It's
kids.
mostly the younger kids, it's like elementary age, and would not include the special ed, so some of the special ed would be summer.
Yeah, so you do have both, yeah.
I'll make a note and we'll put something in the notes.
yeah, because
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, that's fine. So that,
You're right, the difference with extended school year.
Oh, that's what ES was.
Right.
That's what the academy is?
Yeah,
That's special ed.
correct,
yeah.
yeah.
So the academy is extended school year.
No,
No.
special ed is extended school
Yeah,
year.
Okay.
so they're
Sorry.
separate, yep.
So that was under the special ed lines, if you go on the page before that. There's ESY elementary.
so the next section is guidance, which is on the top of page 10.
Right. Hey, I don't have any questions on that one.
I'll make a note.
Anyone?
Just so you know, the line 110 is the new para annuity match that came in their last contract. So that $11,050, just, that's where that's coming from, that's a new bargain piece. Not much else is changing. Guidance, the nurse is next, the nurse's supplies are up. You just kind of go in cycles, and there are specific things that she has requested that I kind of put under the umbrella of safety. So her supplies are up, but other than that, it's pretty much a normal thing. Nurse malpractice is up $12 for next year. But overall, that department is pretty stable. The special contracted services, the last time I was here, lines 136 and 137, which were the contracted school psych and the contracted service behavior tech. I had told you at that point that we believed that grant was being cut. So we actually had budgeted $60,000 on those two lines. The reality is the grant was cut, but it wasn't cut to the magnitude we had anticipated. So, instead of 60, we're at 35. So one of the differences between the last budget and this budget is $25,000 worth of savings in those two lines.
So wait, I'm sorry, where's the 35 coming? Where?
The last time I was here,
No, which lines are you looking at?
I'm at
135.
136 and 137. Okay?
Okay, so,
The last time we had increased those lines to $60,000 for the default because of being told that grants were being cut. So that did not come to reality, so we didn't have to make a significant cut, so $25,000 came back in. And I only mention it because it was brought up the last time, because we were concerned about federal grants being cut.
so I'm sorry, I'm not getting that. So you said it's at 35? So we're,
If you take those two lines, I think this will be a better way to explain it. The last time I was here, those total of the two lines under proposed would have been 120.
and
And
now
now
it's,
they're 95.
okay, got it.
Okay. Line 141, I bring that up, it's salary speech. If you look at the actuals, it's 81,844. You see a budget of 135 and then default at 163. The discrepancy is we actually have two speech people. So that 81 is, again, from an accounting standpoint, I don't know where the other person was put last year, but that basically accounts for the two people that do salary speech. So that was a correction there. Same thing, because only one person was budgeted, health insurance was 27 and now it's 61. So there's some corrections there, and obviously that also changes FICA for speech.
So in instances like that, just looking through here, are there instances or lines where you see a lot of overspend to,
Yes, yeah.
I see a lot of
there is-
underspend, but I don't see a ton of, or I guess we can't tell from the info here.
Right, for the info here, but there are lines in, if I encounter one, I'll give you an example, but there were definitely some, like, the underspending on the textbooks from last year. You know, as I mentioned, $258 for 107,000.
Right, no, I
You
understand.
know, so I mean, that's why it still comes out that you ended up with a surplus, because overall, you still had, your bottom line wasn't exceeded. But the accounting by line, like I'll give you an example. We will do the hot water heater at the school. There's a component of that that's about $4,000. So that wasn't budgeted last year, so we will assign it to that line, go over that line by $4,000 so we can track it.
Yep.
And then we've developed an internal transfer that says, where did the money come from to pay that 4,000?
Yeah.
Okay?
The speech, it looks like, for FY '25, some of it was contracted, cause that one number went from 130,000 down to,
On 48.
Right.
So there's.
it was contracted out. So
Again, that's the other piece. I don't have all the details of what position didn't get filled, what got filled. So I wasn't here
Increases.
to run the budget, so it's very difficult to come in after the fact and try to figure out.
Underspends. Here, so I'm seeing like.
Which one is it, speech therapy?
Getting that again too. so.
Can you explain to me,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think that's what you were just talking about, the line 48?
148,
Yeah.
the 130,
Yeah, I think it was contracted out for
right.
that, like, one of the positions wasn't
So
filled
that's
or,
exactly my
didn't
guess
exist or whatever.
is
That was the other speech person there?
that, yes.
but it was
I believe-
contracted services.
Why is it showing a 22% increase?
Yeah, if you then go all the way to the increase, that makes no
The increase is
sense
from
at all.
26 to 27, so
The
the
increase is just
difference
over the
between the
budget.
5,000 and the 4,000.
5,700 versus 40.
Right,
It's not looking
So-
at the 25.
Budget to default,
Right.
26 to 27.
not
25 isn't
actual
part of
to,
the,
Yeah.
Right, it's not
Percentages.
actuals to default, it's budget
budget to
to
proposed.
default.
So in 25, you're saying there was contracted
This
I'm
That's-
assuming based on that
Yes,
number, the 130,000, that was contracted services.
And whether it was contracted or a person that we hired, it just,
put
it
into
was,
the wrong line.
it's put in the wrong line, that's all. But that's, to your example, Jim,
Yeah.
why it works out, because you have on line 148, 130,000 of actuals to offset that underfunding of line 141 for speech of 81.
One question,
Yeah.
we just had a quick question here. Do you think we could just back up and maybe go over the headings and just maybe, let's just identify what those headings actually
Oh, sure.
are? And that way it might be a little helpful.
You meaning that the headings are at the bottom of what's being summarized?
These-
Oh,
No,
the
the very
actual
top,
gotcha,
yeah.
the very top.
At the top, I have the line number, the account number, which corresponds to our accounting system, the description. Then we go, column C is the actuals, column D is the 26 budget, so the one that we're running right now. 27 default is if the voters don't approve the proposed, that's the number we'll get for there. F is the increase, and that increase, as somebody just mentioned, which I failed to do, and I apologize, means from budget of 26 to default of 27. And then column H is the proposed budget and the percent increase there as well,
From 26.
from
For
26.
26.
Right,
Fiscal year 25 is the period ending June 30th, 2025, which will be under audit starting this month.
that's correct.
So these actuals likely will be chewed up a little bit.
We're in FY 26
26.
right now.
And our DOE 25 that went was based on what's in the system for fiscal year 25
Correct.
as it stood. Okay.
So in most cases, the FY 27 default should be the same as the FY 26 budget. But the instances where it's increased, is that because of contractual obligations?
It's contractual, or it's, the default wasn't correct. Like when we missed 5 people for dental insurance in the last proposed budget, we need to capture that and make sure it's correct, or else you're just gonna continue to perpetuate the problem.
Because you also have, for most of them, a contractual obligation to
Right.
provide.
Yeah.
But also like for special ed, you use, because it's a legal obligation, so it's based on what the actual costs
Right.
So that brings us down to professional contracted services, line 161. Again, in this section, there are some slight increases, but nothing of significance. The majority of it is level funded.
What about physical therapy?
The line number, please,
158.
158. The default budget at 39,997 would be constructed to meet the needs of any student who needed physical therapy. So the difference between the budget and the default is the known population of students that we would have to be servicing.
So the number has increased significantly from 25, because we've gone from 23 to 39.
That's correct. And
And that's
again,
based on an
Active need.
yes,
actual
actual
needs.
students.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And typically, your youngest students probably have the most services because you're going to make strides with them and reduce services over time.
Yep.
So when you see those increases, it's likely that students are new to our district and starting in the programs.
Student services,
Again,
reduction.
special ed,
Yeah, right, what happened there?
pretty much,
How did health insurance go down?
Yeah, right.
and which one?
Line
63,
163.
yeah, 163.
163. That could be somebody opted out. And we also have had some new hires, and I'm not sure they all took health insurance.
So that it's just a difference of some people might have opted out of health, but dental stayed the same.
Yes, a lot of times people will do the health but keep the dental because of the dental policy we offer.
Yep.
All right.
infrastructure improvement curriculum. The next one, I'm starting at 169.
And again, there, the majority of items are default and administrative proposal are the same, or what I would call level funded. You do see health insurance for the library aid. I'll point that one out in line 193. That's an increase. We haven't filled that position, so that is like that placeholder. So I typically will use a 2-person health plan as a placeholder. Not going with single because that undervalues it, or going family that kind of overvalues it, put someone place in the middle. But that position right now is unfilled. We continue to advertise. We have that position and 1 second shift custodian open. Other than that, we're fully staffed other than those 2.
Can you go back to 86 and explain what that is? Curriculum direct courses?
Yes, that is our administrator in charge of curriculum. Her contract actually calls for $6,750 by contract. I don't know how it got entered in the FY26 budget as $3,000 because I always enter the contractual obligation that I have. They may or may not use
Changed, yeah.
any of it. That's part of the problem. So they have that ability to use it. As you can see, I think it's accurate. 25 was $1,879 spent.
So 6750 is the contractual obligation.
That's what's in their contract.
Yep. And that was a new contract that doubled
Yep.
from the prior contract.
We'll move down to the library, if everyone's okay. Again, couple increases around the library collection, things of that nature. In library supplies, that's an area that's used by all students. So we have obviously pre-K to grade 8 supplies and material for all students. But overall, the library budget is pretty much status quo.
I got nothing, no questions.
Okay.
Fantastic.
The next section is the computer instruction. I'd like to bring you to line 222. And I highlight that not from a standpoint of the numbers, but we believe that internet access is eligible for E-rate funds through the federal government. So we are investigating that and seeing what we need to do from a paperwork, but that could lower that in some ways. And there are a couple other items that may be eligible for E-rate funds. So we'll keep you posted as we go through. Other than that, we have some increases there based on software, based on new equipment, and those details will become more prevalent in the Tyler system. But right now, it's the purchase of the replacement computers at one of our grades. I honestly can't remember if it's 5th to 6th, but it's just time in their cycle to be redone. New teacher equipment, which is in a phased-in approach. So we have, through IT, as a machine reaches a certain age and has no longer can provide what is needed for that individual, we upgrade that individual's computer, and then we see where we can recycle that through our many levels until it finally ends up having to be put away.
A question, did you hire a technology director? Because that was contracted out, which is why that FY25 was so low.
I came on board to a technology director, so I honestly.
There is one.
Yeah, so, yeah.
There was a short period of time where there was a
Contracted service.
contracted
Okay.
person in there, and then he was hired on.
Okay,
I
excellent.
think it was December when the full-time technology director retired. He retired in December, and then we had an interim, and then,
And then Josh came
So
on.
there's somebody new as of this school year?
I'm sorry,
Somebody new as of this. school
somebody
year?
new is in there now, yes.
And then for the Chromebooks, are the students now keeping the same Chromebook all the way through, or is
It's my
that,
understanding is that they have a one-to-one.
but like keeping the actual same
I
Dr. Lissy?
believe they bring it in and it gets loaded up and.
Yep.
No, I meant year to year. So it used to be like at the end of the year, you turned it in and you didn't get the
Oh, and you
same
could
one.
get back some more.
They still get a
information.
new one.
Right.
Yep.
But it's the same.
And like, as of last year, you had the option to pay for insurance. It was very cheap insurance. So they're still doing that.
Correct.
So that, like, if they damage it,
Mhm.
they can be charged for it.
It would be nice to be able to keep the same one, I think, because
Well, they wanna turn them in. I don't know.
They do, they turn them in.
They turn them in.
But they get the same
They get the same one
Same
back.
one.
you're taking
My
good
son
care
still
of
has
it,
the same
you benefit,
scratches on
you
the
know.
screen.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know which one's there. I look at them and I'll. Kid can't take care of anything. School.
Fortunately, the insurance is cheap.
Yes, it is, and I got it. The school board, some extra O's in there for you, but that's
Yeah.
fine. Halloween themed.
Pretty much, there is,
He's right, though, there is a typo.
Yes,
Which you
I
might
gotta
wanna.
keep you on your toes a little bit.
I like
We
that.
can't just get all the numbers, right?
That's why I told you I'm good with numbers.
So that would look bad if the school budget had a typo, right?
Well, you know, it's about all the different learners that we have.
We actually,
I-
those
I
are
wanna
called,
rep-
those are called Easter
Lifelong
eggs and they're
learners,
I
inserted.
want to represent them all at once.
Yes, there you go.
When you actually find them.
Thank you for that, we'll correct that.
No worries.
Just going down, line 244, professional audit services will go up next year. The 23 is what we,
Hey, I'm sorry, can we go back to school board, other than the spelling?
Yeah.
I just didn't know what the strategic planning line is.
okay. The school board would like to create a 5-year strategic plan, so that they can kind of align their annual goals with more of a long-range view. So that, honestly, that will get you some consulting hours. The last strategic plan that was paid for professionally, and I'll use a couple districts that I'm aware of, was probably about 50 to 75,000. I have offered, I've done a lot of strategic plan over 42 years, so that'd probably be the way I work my way out, is kind of setting up the 5-year plan for the board.
So is 5,000 realistic?
To get started, yeah.
That'll get you through this year?
Yeah.
Entirely?
Yeah. And I think, again, because it's got a long way to go, and the board would have to make a decision on which way they'd like to go. I mean, you can get whatever you want. You get all the bells and whistles. I think the key to me is making sure that it's not a strategic plan that sits on the shelf. It's a strategic plan that never accumulates any dust.
We're really looking for some outreach as well, via survey, some maybe facilitated meetings, things like that.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So I think that will be the seed money to
Is that the
decide
meeting too?
which direction they would want to go.
Okay.
That's this line too, the meeting line, that
Yep.
goes along with that, okay, gotcha.
I spoke about the school district audit. The line below that, GAD 75, is every other year from the audit standpoint, so that's why you see it in 27, but don't see it in 26.
I'm sorry, where are you?
I am at line 245, the Gatsby 75 compliance.
Yep.
That's just every other year auditing expense that you're required to do. So that's why it's in 27, but not in 26. Attorney and negotiator, we're up slightly. I think the actuals for 25 represent contracts. I wouldn't be surprised if 26 was a little higher than the budgeted amount, because we have a teacher's contract that's being negotiated. But overall, I think that goes well.
Is there another contract in 27 that's getting negotiated?
I don't think so.
Okay,
You know, it all depends. But I don't have enough history without a contract to say where you should put your, I don't know how much you're expending on attorneys in a non-contract year.
gotcha.
And it would become an expense that you have to have, so I don't wanna undershoot it, and then we're creating an issue.
Makes sense.
Does that seem reasonable to you, Sue, based on history?
I think we've typically been in the 30,000 range. This fiscal year 25 had some little anomalies in it, so 31.5 is probably workable.
Yeah.
And it's about $300 an hour right now, so you've got about 100 hours budgeted. So if you run into a major lawsuit or something, you're gonna exceed that pretty quickly. Pretty much the pieces, reductions are there for going to a part-time superintendent.
And that's realistic for our future,
Which one?
part-time superintendent.
Part of what I was asked to do is look at your structure. And I think, being here just a short time, I think you have enough, I'm gonna use the word administrators. I think we need to look at how we align them for tasks. So I do think you could do it. I think when you bring on the next superintendent, it's going to be their level of competency and then what's required for mentoring. But I do think it's doable. I do think you need a full-time BA. I have said to the board, I would like to see the superintendent's role combined with something else administratively in the district. So some person is doing like 0.6 superintendent and 0.4 something else.
And is it realistic to find that person? Enough people that want a part-time superintendent?
Well, it
Job.
wouldn't be part-time with the combination together.
They'd be
'cause
doing
I do
something
think
else as well.
I'm sorry?
Like,
They'd
for
be doing
example,
something
they
else
could
as
be.
well.
He has to be doing something else as well.
Or-
Okay, all
Because
right,
I do
all
think-
right.
I
That
do
makes
think
sense.
it was struggle.
Got it,
Part-time doing that.
got it.
But,
Okay.
but also understand, I don't know where the proposed law with the state to go to one superintendent for each county and have 12 superintendents for the entire state. I mean, I can't imagine doing that, but there'd be plenty of people that would be available to maybe do part-time then.
Fair,
Gonna add
fair.
Couple hundred people all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's
Um,
moving forward, it's just gonna add costs for everything.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's not
Because
a
they're
good
gonna have
And you would
12
probably still need
12
an
mini
assistant
commissioners and
superintendent
people
for each
with
district, so
repeaters.
it's
Just
not
extra
really.
layers of bureaucracy.
And the reality is,
That's what we're doing.
being a county superintendent, I would never be able to come to a meeting and have a discussion like this.
No, they wouldn't
Right.
even know what
And
you're
Right.
that's,
Right.
that's probably the, you know, as a New
And
Hampshire
everyone.
person, that's probably the thing I like and what attracted me to stay here for vast majority of my career is local control. You know, again, it's the 5 members of the school board and the budget committee that really decide what's right for Nottingham. And if people don't like that, they vote you out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I just think that is why New Hampshire across the state is successful with their schools, because of local control.
Yep.
All right, enough of my soapbox.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good soapbox though.
It is, right there.
Line 275, which says travel. We're looking at that. We spent 4,497. That was with people going to conferences. I'm beyond that stage of my career. I don't necessarily want to take something out that I think would need to go back in 18 months. But I don't know if it needs to stay at 5,000 or 5,150. But the school board had brought that up the other night, so I actually have a circle around that from my meeting last night. So I think that will come down. But so that way, if you brought somebody in, let's say they weren't fully certified, they could accept the job, they could be a superintendent, and you wanted them to sign up for the Granite State Leadership Academy, that's where that money could come in very handy.
But if it's travel, what is it, like mileage?
It would be mileage. In the Granite State Leadership Academy, there are some overnight responsibilities, because what you're doing is you're getting your CAGs out of a 3-year program while you're working.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, I think a chunk of it's mileage. I know it was also to go to conferences, and again, I'm just beyond that.
Not the conference fee, though.
It would have been probably the fee, the fee would have been covered under the contract for
Yeah, yeah.
professional development.
Yeah.
But it would have been the travel.
Okay.
Okay, so we're looking at that line, so don't be surprised if that's changed the next time we come back.
What's district software?
District software is your financial programming.
That's Tyler.
That's
Tyler,
Tyler.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had to change that because when I came in, that was titled district supplies. And I couldn't figure out what we were spending $31,000 worth of supplies on. And believe it or not, it took more than a couple days to figure it out. So, live and learn. Take any questions on page 15? Anything regarding the principal's office?
Just the line 302 course reimbursements going from
Yes.
13.
Yes, we have budgeted in there, I'm going to be, at some point this year, recommending, one of our administrators go to the Granite State Leadership Academy. And that will cover that cost, which will allow them to become, certified as a superintendent. Because I don't believe you want to, I think you want to have people in the pipeline. Now, you hope they stay here and work for you, but at the same time, I like to have a bunch of people that are trained, so that way if on August 31st, somebody came in and said to you they were moving on, you at least have somebody who has been trained to do the job. So that's the Granite State Leadership Academy that we're looking at, and I think it's very appropriate for the individual that I will be asking. The kind of the same piece down in line 320, travel for the business office. It appears the $517 might have just been mileage in actuals. So if, you know, as we research that, I don't think we need $3,605. But we haven't made that adjustment yet. It's still a circle on my sheet.
Going back up,
Yep.
307, copiers got significantly cheaper. How do you pull that off?
Again, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Because again, when you change copiers, and we do have a newer copier.
Oh,
in
we
the
just bought a
office.
new one? Okay.
Yeah.
Nope, makes
My-
sense.
And again, I didn't, it was there, but my guess is you were able to get a newer model for cheaper money because they want to get the foot in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that
The
makes
real
sense.
money is in the toner.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, it is.
309 with the postage.
The three-
Do we think those actuals might be off or?
I don't know. That's another line that we're looking at because we don't do much in the way of mail anymore. So other than the certified letters required under special ed, some mailings that we might have to do with the DOE. So I don't think it'll stay at the 2720 or the 3382. But I just, you know, pretty much everything is electronic now.
Yeah.
You know, our notices to families, our newsletters. So we can look at that and determine is it off? If it is off, where's the rest of the money? What do we spend it on?
Sure.
Just like the report cards, that, you know, we're handing them out. It's not like the old days where we sent it through the mail. No. So I will check that one.
Thanks.
We have the salary and the benefits in there for a full-time BA. I think that is kind of mission critical in getting, I think you have a very competitive salary. It's a very tough position to fill because it requires a very unique skill set. And in the private sector, they can out-earn our sector. But at the same time, I think as we see the market changing a little bit out there in the economy, people are looking for security. You know, so, and again, it's also attractive that we are still part of the pension plan. So that takes us to the end of business financial services and takes us to our last piece, the facilities director. Again, right now, actuals for salaries and that around custodians are a little different because we've been down a custodian. So we've been functioning with 3 people. And I publicly thank them again, they're doing a great job. You can imagine trying to clear a school building with 3 people to open after a snowstorm. They've really done a great job.
The custodians handle the snow removal, and it's in a separate.
We have a service that would do the parking lot and do the driveways and that, but all your entrances and all that are snow blowed and plowed, hand plows by the custodians. And then salted and sanded. And then I provided you with an estimate of food service. I look at food service, which is intended to be the cost of meals should offset the expenses. Now, earlier in the budget, you would have found a line for food service for $1, because legally, if we do not cover all the costs, the operating budget has to cover those costs. So that $1 allows us to make that transfer during the school year. In the spring, we'll look at how we're running for '26, and that will help determine our lunch prices for '27. But from an overall percentage, it should be revenue and expense neutral, so it shouldn't change my percentages of my operating budgets.
Hey, I'm sorry.
I'll go back, sorry, real quick, for
Yeah,
transportation.
I was going back there too.
We've been down to one bus for Dover for years at this point. It looks like you're still budgeting for 2 buses. So it ends in 6/8. I don't know what-
368.
368.
Thank you.
I think we're in the 300s now, yeah.
I'm assuming that's 2 buses. Just something to think about. We haven't had 2 buses in several years at this point.
And I believe that's a driver issue.
How so?
Which isn't getting any better.
It's not getting any better for bus drivers.
No, so you only have one bus versus 2 because it's a driver issue.
Right.
So are you saying if you get a second driver, then you would have a second bus this year?
I guess my point is that they haven't gotten one,
Right.
so
That's,
the
yeah,
transportation
So
isn't
why budget for 2?
prioritizing getting a second driver.
so I budget for 2.
At some point, I think we need to, I know the contract is up in like another year, but look
Yeah.
at like, are we seriously, it's a ridiculously long.
How are we getting away with one if we need to?
Sometimes the kids are on the bus for over an hour.
Oh, it's, the route starts at like,
Let's get real inventive on ways to get
5:30.
home because it takes so long.
Yep.
My son would have to get on the bus at 5-something, 5:30.
I mean, what I'd be
Okay,
willing to
good, Dover.
consider is
5:15.
partially
something like that.
reducing it so
Crack
that
it
we're
on.
not paying for something we don't need, but that we don't have to make up the total amount if we were a driver. So if it was 80-something thousand, I'd probably go 2/3 of that. So we don't, I'm not a big fan of taxing people on things we know we can't get. But then I'm also being conscious of if all of a sudden the driver walked in, adding 30,000, you can probably find it in a $17 million budget. So I mean, I will look at that and see if we can make a reduction in that, so we're not paying for a service that we're not using.
So is there only one bus for Kilbrown then?
there's 2.
2 for
There's
Cobrown.
2.
They have
They have
more,
twice, well, I
there's
guess
more
they're making
students
the bus
going.
around. They have twice as many kids, I guess.
But so you haven't had troubles finding a bus driver for that?
All for the same.
It probably doesn't matter, it's the
Yeah.
same pool.
It's-
where you allocate
It's a
it.
shorter,
Got it.
you know, the run
Got
is
it,
a
yeah,
shorter.
yeah,
It's a lot more
got it,
practical.
okay.
Yep.
In that same section, so special ed transportation is a significant increase. Why is that?
Number of kids.
Number.
71,
Well,
Yes, 371.
371.
has the number of kids increased that significantly?
Well, 2 reasons for that. We have more of a population for transportation, but I don't think the actuals are correct. So
Okay, but the
Oh, I
budget
getcha.
for
Yes.
26 was 176, and now you're saying 223, or 233.
233. Yeah, and
So-
that, Catherine has gone through and looked at each individual student, whether they're a van or a bus, and done the associated cost. And that's probably along with servicing child's needs, that's the second biggest area in special ed that's just grown exponentially. So I'm not, again, not having done the FY '26 budget, I can't give you all the details around the 176. But I can tell you that Catherine went student by student to determine the 233.
And that includes the out-of-district
Yes.
students, right?
Yes.
So,
So if you're taking a van to a location an hour away, in some cases, we're paying the van driver to sit there during the day because the time to get back and then
Oh,
get
yeah.
back.
Right,
Yep.
okay.
You have to consider that we've got 118 students overall between preschool and our out of district.
That receives special education services.
Right, and so some of
118.
them may have tuition, transportation could fall into that, so you've got 18 preschoolers, 66 kids in Nottingham School. One of the high schools has 14, the other one has 12. We've got a charter school with two students there that we have to support with services, other public school, and 5 out of districts. So that's a total of 118 out of the entire school district population from preschool through high school.
And if we're paying people potentially sit, if the costs are that much, I mean, a $60,000 increase could be one student's
oh, yeah,
needs.
yeah. I mean, if a student enrolls tomorrow and needed out-of-district placement and transportation, you know, you're probably $230 to $250 to start, not knowing what other services they need.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we have 13 active referrals at this time, so that
That's a
18
lot.
could go up by 13.
So, Sue, if the population of the school, number of students is what, like 500?
What are we at, 5?
Roughly,
About
so
5?
ballpark, so it's 118 of the.
536.
118 of the 546, or am I
Well,
not?
the
No, that
118 would be
includes
over
our
the
high
whole,
schools.
everything,
Including high school.
That
so
includes high
that's-
schools. So she said, what, 66 Nottingham?
Yeah, 66 and
66 in Nottingham out of 536.
Okay,
Right,
got it.
and those numbers statewide have gone up, and I think it's even a national
Nationally, yeah.
phenomenon that's happening. So weren't we, Andy, usually around statewide, around 10, 12, and we were always below that, but it's much higher now.
Yeah, it's close to 20% now
Percent.
in most districts.
Yeesh. Okay, and then homeless transport, is that based on the same analysis of
That's-
students? Okay.
Yeah, and that's a very volatile because they are
Yep.
homeless.
Yep,
So
yep.
we are required to transport them, but they may at any day get placed in foster care and have a more permanent situation. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
So that's where we're at. There is some wiggle room. I don't necessarily see any increases. I told you the lines that we're looking at that would yield slight decreases. But I think we're kind of in the ballpark of what you would expect to see being brought forth. Please understand that we're in a teacher's contract year, so you don't have that salary piece in here. So in some ways, your proposed budget is, you know, artificially decreased a little bit because we don't know what will be put before the voters in a separate warrant article. And then obviously, if that's approved, then it becomes part of the default and the proposed.
I think overall, though, the voters are gonna be really happy if we can come out of this with a 1.32% increase. That would be
I think you're gonna,
phenomenal.
yeah, I think you're gonna be there. Unless, and again, if there was a significant change, I'd have a reason for that. You know, either we had somebody move in or something else. I mean, Paul and I, as I said, it's version 9. Now what we're able to do, because we did it in Excel, is Excel can just be exported into Tyler, and then we can add the comments. So that way, you'll have the traditional piece. And looking ahead to like next year, I would probably do the same process. If we stay, you know, if we get a full-time BA, I may not do the same process, but if we were using a service again, and me being part-time, I would use the same process, and sometime around this, probably a little sooner than this, because honestly, I feel like I'm a month behind because they're not coming on board for August, so we're kind of hitting crunch time already.
Yeah.
And I know you don't have as much of the data as you might normally have, but there's just nothing we can do to, as we try to go through and figure out what happened.
So, Sue, one question for you guys is that, like, if you look at the town with the cap, 4%, it's gotta be the operating budget and the warrant articles. I gotta be honest, 1.32% looks too good to be true to me.
I'm
Honestly,
honestly kind of nervous.
I am too, I don't believe it, honestly.
Especially
I think
because
you should-
healthcare costs have gone up, like skyrocketed.
Well, but I think
In
part
this
of the
budget as well.
story, I mean,
But let me finish my question, please. My question is, what do you anticipate for warrant articles? You know, and how much is that gonna impact that 1.32? Okay.
I can answer.
You, sir?
Well, I'm gonna propose the warrant articles, they might say no. I don't see us doing a lot. You had that $325,000 warrant last year, that's coming off the books. You had the kiln in the art room, which is coming off the books, so those two pieces are gone. I would definitely see us doing something to its surplus, for textbooks. I would recommend you look to beef up your high school rainy day fund through the trust fund, through surplus, so no new tax impact. And then when I have more data, one of the things we had in CIP was to start window replacements at the school. If we were running a surplus, I would rather do those out of the surplus than out of the trust. You know, but again, we can all have a discussion at that.
Yeah.
I just, because that would be about $75,000. I'm
Windows,
phasing.
all the windows?
No, what I'm gonna do, again, to kind of, I'm a big fan of keeping instead of doing the spikes and the roller coaster, I would do about $75,000 a year, and probably in 2 or 3 years you'll be done. And I know it sounds like, oh my stars, that'll take forever. We did about $3.5 million worth of roofs over a 10-year period.
Yep.
And the nice part is we did it in phases, so then when 20 years from now, when the first phase is going, you're not replacing that whole roof. And we just allocated basically 200,000 and worked our way through, and it was done.
Yeah, if you're paying to install windows, you might as well get good windows.
Yes.
Louis, Oregon, I mean, you're already paying for the labor.
Right. No, I think we'll get enough to, justify putting new windows in, but I think we'll get some cost savings on our energy. We just did our boilers, our rooms are actually warm, and it'd be nice to keep the heat in with better windows. But if you notice, we have some huge windows on our stairwells,
Yeah.
those
then-
larger.
yep.
So I'd probably start with those, because those are the ones that are probably the least efficient right now.
And we're gonna have a high school tuition contract, which we just, Melissa and I finished about a few weeks ago, a month ago.
If anybody would like a copy of the contract, I brought copies if
so
you're
we
having
said
trouble
we
sleeping.
could Turn
Start
that,
turning that.
Yep. So we wanna get things early this
No, no, you're
year,
most
and last
welcome.
year, there were some contracts that didn't make it to the
Yeah,
table
yeah.
in time, and
That was
that's not something
This
that we
water
wanna
heater is a
repeat.
propane, electric hybrid, heat pump. And what's it for? Cause I know there's a hot water heater, it's supposed to be in the gym, the locker rooms. that
Right,
was Not
this one-
taken out in case we needed it.
This is the one above the kitchen office. So our food service director's office is inside the kitchen when you go to the right. This water heat, it sits right above and does that whole area of the kitchen and all that.
Kitchen.
So it's one of those items that, and it's funny, we've had our fire inspections, all those, and everybody's commented about, it doesn't look good. It certainly isn't good, but it would close us down for a couple days if it went,
Oh, I got you.
yeah. So we're trying to avoid that like the plague.
So we'll have that high school contract, we'll have the teachers' contract as well.
I am actually curious to get a copy,
Yeah.
just to look at what's in it.
Yeah, you should get it, I mean,
No secret.
so, Melissa can go over some of the highlights
Yeah,
of
I heard
that
that.
contract.
Yeah, we had this a couple years ago.
You want to wait, so you know what it is.
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you.
With regard to the contract, if you came across something that created the question, if you wanna email me, I'll bring it to the board. Because Melissa and Susan actually negotiated it and know it better than I do. I can tell you.
Yeah,
A little bit, so.
Good, Matt.
Had great negotiations. There's, some quick and easy changes that I'll go through on the first page. We just kind of condensed it, the old contract, I think, especially the original establishment of, the first, keeping school choice. So this one keeps, school choice between open, except it notes that, program will accept all students without applications. Enrollment is kind of based on maintaining academics, behavior, all that kind of stuff. So that was fairly straightforward. That's on the first page. On the second page, it's term at 10 years.
So this is a 10-year contract.
It is.
with an option for the second, which was a
Okay.
three-year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
extension dates to, we did avail ourselves of that with the last contract. It was a 7 and 3.
Is that a standard contract term for these negotiations?
Last contract was 7 and 3, this one's a little bit longer, and they do it to, it helps them when they're doing their planning, that they can show that they have long-term contracts.
On the next page, number 7, special education support. Ms. Duncan is our director of youth services, so she kind the fine-tooth comb and was happy with, there weren't a whole lot of changes to it, so just make sure that that still met the needs for our students. On page 8, under education data reports and records, we just ensured that Nottingham will continue to receive the freshman survey, which is the survey that our eighth graders that they fill out as comments. We'll receive student academic information along with math and reading section results. Also, as Susan noted last night, that as long as we maintain this 45% goal as a seat on the education committee, the program would be trying to have a school board rep. And then we take on page 7 under section 17, termination. Program just requested that we add in, you'll see on the fourth line in the middle, instead of NEASC as the only accrediting body, it can be or any other accreditation body. So that was something that we added in there with them. That's kind of it for most of the changes.
Does the 10-year term, does that have an annual not to exceed increase or some sort of standard percent increase annually?
No, they have their methods for calculation, which they've shared with us.
Okay,
They typically are running, I think 4.97 was a little higher than we typically see with them. It's usually around 3.97 in that area.
but that's not spelled out in this.
And it's not in Dover either, although we do have, at any time you can go back and talk, but with Dover, we have, I think, a 5% number in there right now where we can go back and renegotiate if they give us higher. And I think
okay.
last year came in very high as well. I think it was like 10.78.
One of the things you're always facing, you pay tuition based on your cost per pupil. But if you have declining enrollment, the divide is going down. So that's why you see the spikes. It's not like they're adding, tons of things. It's just as New Hampshire population overall diminishes, all our cost per pupils are going up just by maintaining what we have.
Yeah, I was reading an article, I forgot, I should print it out, it was shown dramatically.
Yeah. I mean, your community happens to be, one of the communities that is, I believe, actually growing. And there are a number of those in New Hampshire too. It's about land and access to the highway for people in the community, where you're seeing your Manchesters and Dovers and that, they're just seeing that natural present, people moving away from the city by not having land anymore.
So the enrollment at Co-Brown is 644, and Nottingham comprises about 23% currently of that enrollment. Similar to Stratford at 23%. Barrington's got 14%, Deerfield 12, Northwood has 27. So we've got,
Norfolk's barely higher than Nottingham.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, they
I'm
have
just-
much lower enrollment than we do,
Yeah.
but they pretty much send all of their students. We have more high school
Yeah.
students, but we
I'm
have
just
choice.
surprised it's as close as it is.
Yeah,
that's
I
all.
know.
Excellent. Any other questions? Oh, we got-
Nope.
The only question I have to do, I think, when is the next meeting?
Next
Well,
school,
It's only next school, I think I can't say.
It's on that
December
in our
18th.
packet that we had last night, our hand
Right.
carries, that's the
December
calendar.
18th.
That's gonna be a problem.
Okay.
Because I'm out of town, on that day. And we have the school board on the 17th. And this is part of the problem of having, I can give the material to Susan, we can sit down, I just wanted to know it's gonna be a conflict.
Well, that's a draft review, and then what we're asking for on final proposed and final default isn't until January 8th.
That's fine.
Do you think there's going to be a substantial difference between what you presented tonight and January 8th? Because from the way you're talking, it doesn't sound like there's.
I don't think so, and again, I don't know, I have no problem communicating with the chair if something comes out and we can electronically send it along. Because I don't right now, I've got all my major pieces I'm comfortable with. you know, my tuitions, my transportation, my healthcare, my salaries, my FICA, those pieces. And the teacher contract will be negotiated and voted on separately. So I'm pretty confident we're gonna be around this category. Karen, I do kind of share your concern because it does seem low to me. But then when I reflected that there's not a teacher's contract, because with a teacher's contract, that'd be around a 3% increase. The 1.3 would become about 3%. So then I feel more comfortable. So 1.3, Paul and I have been over it a few times, making sure, or if any of you go through and you say something's missing, please email us.
Yep.
You know, again, coming in the first year and there were a number of lines, different things, it hasn't been an easy task.
I mean, I would love that it would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
that
No, I know,
low. And, but with the healthcare costs have gone up so extremely high, I just look at it and like, ooh, okay.
Well, the other question would be to Robert's point earlier about what the surplus has been every year. I mean, take last year out, because that was an anomaly, but if we were like
It was.
3 to 5 previous years, if we're coming in at this, can we anticipate that surplus is gonna be lower?
Well, you would
I would
expect
have,
that
I
it
would
would
have to
be.
agree with you, the surplus is, I mean, for example, 2021 was 430,000, 2022 was 529,000, 2023, that was 2,500, I'm sorry, 2,500, but I think that was the boiler or something.
Mhm.
Yes.
2024, as you know, 909,000, and
Yeah.
2025, you're starting to see it go down, 374,000.
Mhm.
So that surplus might be getting tight at one
And
point.
especially if you
Tighter or more in line.
anticipate using it to,
More in
It-
line.
Surplus goes down as your budgeting accuracy goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know, I'm saying, but the surplus goes to other items. That surplus is, as we put into the reserve funds.
Mhm.
So that's how the reserve funds have been traditionally funded, is through that surplus, so it's
Mhm.
almost built into.
And
But-
he's
so if you
mentioned a
keep-
couple other things.
Yeah, so, but if that number keeps going down closer and closer to zero, then the reserves are gonna
Are
go
not
down.
gonna get refunded, yeah.
Exactly, that's all I'm trying to
Yep.
make sure we're on the same page of.
The other piece you could look at for, I'll say more long-term, is you presently do 1.5% as your retained fund balance, that's the motion to put away. The state law change, you could go up to 5%, or anywhere in between. So we're presently putting $200,000 in the unreserved fund balance, which is basically kind of emergency fund, for lack of a better word. It's just a different method of preparing if something didn't go the right way.
Yeah.
And that gets funded out of surplus, and basically, once you fund it, it's kind of there unless you use it. And then my recommendation is if you're going to use it, you have to hold a public hearing on that and explain why you're going to go into that. And I think that's a great safety net to have as a community.
Mhm.
but to your question initially about the next meeting, I think it would be good to have this this committee be able to see some of the notes and everything before we went to the
I
final.
think that would be really
piece in
important.
January. So I think what we can do is, you know, you can come back again, right? And so we'll do our typical, and it will give the board an opportunity to weigh in again at their next meeting, so. I think-
Right, yeah, because we have a board meeting the 17th.
Right.
Paul is attending to do the Tyler presentation. That would be the other thing. If you wanted to come to the 17th, because I mean, that's, you know, as you look to go further down the road, one of the difficulties I could see you having with a part-time superintendent is the number of times you're gonna ask him or her to be out.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually
I mean,
3 times.
Yeah, it's like 3 times.
Yeah.
I think we can bring stuff here and we'll be fine.
No, I feel it's my obligation to let you know that. I mean, I was out last night, I was out tonight, which is fine. I mean, part of the job, but I'm just saying, superintendents are dwindling in number, and they're not easy to get. And like teachers, for the first times in their career, they're kind of in the driver's seat of picking and choosing.
This is still way better than you had, or that must have been something.
It was fun. But you should understand too, that 12 years ago when I started in Hollis Brookline, their budget had the same issues. That's why I went in there. And 11 years later, I mean, there was a lot of trust built. And I think It's not about the person, it's about the mechanisms. You know, and that's what I wanna make sure, and that's what the board asked me to do, and my intent to do, is put the mechanisms back in. So I know it's a little frustrating getting Excel spreadsheets, and it feels like lack of answers, and is it a fictitious percentage or not? I get all that. But at the same time, when you're trying to figure out what was done, and we weren't here, and nobody who was here is still here. And your HR person is gone, your administrative assistant is gone, the DA is gone, the superintendent's new. We're using a service because we couldn't find the DA, you know, and it's funny, right, and I said this to the board, and I'll say it again, because you aren't taking the people off. You have a fabulous school. Fabulous school with great administration, doing great things for kids every day. I mean, probably once a day, it's the best part of my day. We just need to figure out how we're gonna do the structure of the SAU.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate
My
your
pleasure.
time.
My pleasure.
That's great.
It's great.
Can you come in below the 1.32?
See what
Don't
happens?
you start. I wanna go home at some point.
Sorry.
Add things.
Now we're adding stuff, just to mess with you.
He gave you that option, it's called default.
Default,
Yeah.
yes.
Very true.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move on.
Yes, thank you,
to-
appreciate it.
My pleasure. And I'm working on the names. I'll get to everybody.
We'll get you there, don't you worry.
So when's the next time we're seeing you then?
I'll be in January.
January 8th.
Good Christmas, we don't see
Thank
you
you.
in January.
So
Merry
the-
Christmas
No, I
and
know.
Happy New Year.
I'm remote, if you're looking for me for the 17th to the 5th, I'll be in Florida.
I was gonna say,
Stop
we're
it
gonna
now.
remote Florida
My,
to the beach.
my plan was just to go there and be
Software,
done,
give us back.
and then this is very attractive.
Or-
I don't know how.
It's not making
I
it
haven't
better.
seen all the time. We'll survive.
You're set in
You're a
Florida.
brave man.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to next item, which is meeting minute review from 11:20. Any comments on the November 20th?
There is one typo in there on Co-Brown.
Okay, excellent.
Where
What
it's like
line?
COLE.
And then this.
Oh,
the
Cole.
bill.
Cole Brown.
Probably auto-corrected into something. What, do you know what line item?
I don't have it up. 2 seconds.
There it is, 78. Okay, I found you. Yep. Okay.
Oh, yeah, so in that same area, I just had, so the two, it says Dover tuition rate came in at slightly over 11%. The school board will be discussing the Cole Brown,
Yeah.
which came in at 4.9%. I think it just might be clearer if we said an increase of,
Yep.
because
Came
it just.
in at an increase of slightly over 11%.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Okay, so we'll add the word increase. Came in at
Yeah,
an increase of.
Yep.
Okay, an increase of.
yeah, just for
Between at and
clarification.
slightly. And the same for Co-Brown. Came in at an increase of 4.9%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, okay.
148 was the cost of the beach attendants actually removed from the operating budget? They had it as a line in there. They just moved it.
No,
No, they removed, I think they removed they were gonna move it to warrant article.
oh yeah, pending discussion of presenting it as a warrant article.
So it was only if it gets, sorry, I wasn't here. I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting the words and understanding that.
This was the 20th? What date was the? Yeah, 20th.
Yeah, they did say that they were gonna put forward, considering putting it forward as a warrant article, so that people can decide if they want to use the beach or not.
Have you ever had, like, when you do a warrant article, it's possible to make the wording clear that it's like, if you don't do this, the beach will not be, like, it will be closed or whatever.
I don't know that
That
we've
would
ever
be
used language
very
that
unusual.
strong, but you can certainly,
I'm just curious of like the number of people that are like, I don't wanna do something, and then
There's.
they don't really understand
Understand the
the
consequences.
consequences of
Yeah.
not doing it.
Yeah, so there's legal requirements on.
Right.
The RSA dictates certain ways that it has to be written, but that doesn't necessarily mean we can't try to add some additional
could
content.
say
So I'm
something
sure
like-
we could work with legal, but
In order to.
Charlotte could work with that more
Maybe,
directly as
yeah.
BOS.
In order to have open access or whatever.
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's wording that we can do, and I think we are leaning
Like-
towards that, like the voters need to decide, it's a considerable amount of money
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Is this really?
There's
good,
also,
George?
you know.
I was under the understanding though that those four times, those four attendants weren't a requirement to keep the beach open.
So I'm
It's just
looking at
what Rec
the,
wanted.
Yeah, we gotta
Well-
talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we gotta talk about that.
That's if they were
definitely.
gonna staff at 40, that's what they came up with.
Yeah.
so I'm looking at the version they gave us on November 20th, and so if you look at like the department request column had the costs in there, and then the column that was like the selectmen's version, they took it out and it's highlighted.
Yeah.
So it was removed from.
Yeah. Well, 'cause we gotta get rid of
Okay, does that answer your question, Jill?
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, any other questions about 11-20 minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of November 20th as amended.
second that.
Motion by Donna, second by Charlotte, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Ayes have it. Passes 11-0. Committee report, CIP.
So
Just
we
had a big
met
presentation.
for the last time this season, I guess, on Monday, just to finalize the report that goes into the annual report. And just like tweaked a couple of wording things. And we found one
We
typo
made one correction.
on the actual CIP spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It was for
It was-
the,
It was
something on
kitchen
the,
was in at 35,000 way out, like
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
like 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we put it back to the 120.
So I guess at some point, maybe we can get a final version back to this committee. We
Yep.
just need to get it printed. So
Yep.
we can-
That'd be good just to have for the record. Appreciate it.
Good process though, and the first time ever that I know that the CIP has been done this early.
Earliest I've seen it. It's great.
Yeah.
We're not planning to meet again if,
No.
so.
Good. Well, appreciate all your hard work on that. School facilities?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Meeting next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
And we
Tuesday,
updated at the last meeting for the prior meeting.
Yep, perfect, excellent. Town facilities, Charlotte?
Town Facilities Committee met, Assessment Committee met last night. We are hot on the trail of trying to create a warrant for, new fire PD. At the fire station, a new, police department relocated, assumably where the, fire department is. It's a shame that wasn't done at the time. It would have saved us a lot of money. Back then, it's not getting any cheaper. But we are reaching out to engineering firms. We've had to do a lot of research to find out who actually did the plans for the fire station and did the conceptual for a police station, which had been planned there. And I believe we've tracked a lot of information down because we want to give a responsible estimate of what it's going to cost, not we've put this warrant before the voters before, and I think there just wasn't a lot of confidence behind it. It was like we pulled this number out of what it would cost to be a feasibility study. And I think if we want to be trusted stewards of the taxpayers' money, we're going to make sure we do due diligence and that we get a feasibility study that, you know, is accurate and meets our needs. We consider the Facilities Assessment Committee to have already done the assessment phase of this project. So that's saving us some money, hopefully. But we need somebody to come in and do feasibility and make sure that we can put, you know, the resources that we need at the fire department. We own the land already, it would save us a lot of money in building it. And, you know, put the cart before the horse, but, you know, eventually to take out a bond and to move the police department where it needs to be. So we're very busy doing that so that we have it in time to get a warrant in that is, we can really stand behind and say, this is gonna give us what we need to start this project.
So just to clarify, you're just looking at that one portion, the feasibility
Just that one
fees and,
Yep.
yeah, so
Yep.
getting the
So we're
architect
still
and the subcontractors to kind
steps.
of
Yeah.
suss it out.
Yeah, and we're dealing with not only the engineering firm that originally did the fire, that seems like a good place to start, but at several other places, and Corporal Alvarez of the police department has done some research with us as well, and he's reached out to Barrington, Exeter, somewhere else that I can't remember, and so we're gonna reach out to their engineering firms as well. somebody who's got expertise and understands that we're looking for something that has a long shelf life, but really gives us what we need and is sustainable. So
Excellent.
I think we're taking it pretty seriously, and we should.
Good deal. Thank you. Anything, on to item 8, anything for new business?
I have a request.
Yes.
I noticed that the rec department had conducted a community needs assessment
Okay.
in 2023. I think that could be informative to
Yeah.
us in seeing what the community is saying they'd like. Do they want a beach? I don't know if that was included.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I think it
I
would
don't
be
remember,
worth
but it would be
getting
interesting
that.
to get that info.
That's new, and then just follow up on the other 2 items that Ellen had promised us was the budget for the revolving fund and the really a statement, the money going in and out of that fund for the last 3 years. I think she said she had it and was going to send it to us, but I didn't
I
see
haven't
any.
seen it yet.
Maybe she need to get it from Betsy, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so if we could just, it'd be nice to have before
Yep,
the next
absolutely.
meeting.
Okay, those 2 items, needs assessment and revolving fund, yep.
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else, new business? Excellent, with that,
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
excellent, next meeting's December 11th. Motion by Donna to adjourn, second by Jeff, or Jim,
Jim.
sorry, second by Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, meeting is adjourned.